If you really wish to surpass me, then leave this place. Leave and return as a demon. Arie Hon. White, the 10th Slayer of Fuck, is one of the most important, intriguing and feared characters in the entire tower. So join me as I dive deeper into His Majesty's history in part 8 of my Tower of God history series. I'm Dennis, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and now let's start. The story of White starts at the palace of the Arie family, one of the 10 great families. The head of the family is Arie Hon, and it is said that he is the strongest among the great warriors. His territory is the largest of the 10 families, and he is famous for giving special tests to regulars who have managed to reach the 100th floor. Whoever passes his test gets an extraordinary reward, but the level of difficulty of his tests is so high that most regulars don't even dare to take them. To this date, only 2 people have ever managed to pass his tests, one of which is his own daughter, and the other was the irregular Jurek Magino, whom I will talk about in more detail in the next part of this video series. Anyway, when a young Hoaqin heard that his father, the family head Arie Hon, came to the palace, he rushed to see him. Hoaqin told the family head how his dream is to become an even greater swordsman than he is. This amused the family head, and he told his son to follow him as there was something he wanted to show him. The place they went to was at a great altar where the mighty Arie sword was displayed. Hoaqin couldn't hide the excitement on his face when he saw the Arie sword from up close, as he wasn't chosen to be part of the main family's training squad yet. He was not allowed to leave the castle and only ever saw the sword through the castle's windows. Hoaqin told his father that he will definitely come back here someday. Arie Hon then started to talk about his floor and his clan, how they create buildings and sing songs for him, about how only the Ha and the Kun families can compare themselves to the great Arie sword. He looked his young son in the eyes and said, "No matter how hard you try, it is impossible for you to surpass your father here. From the servants, wives and countless sons of the Arie family, their flesh, bones and blood have gathered to create the one and only Arie blade. And above all of this, I, your father, tower as the ruler. Son, if you wish to become part of this sword, grow and sacrifice yourself in my arms. However, if you really wish to surpass me, then leave this place. Leave and return as a demon." Years later, Hoaqin was selected for the training squad of the Arie family. However, not long after that, he was visibly distraught when one of the servants of the main family came to talk to him. Hoaqin told this servant that his father had changed, and how the look in his father's eyes changed from when he was first selected. Hoaqin said that he felt genuine warmth in his father's gaze when he got selected, but now he just feels a scary coldness, just like before he got selected. Hoaqin thought that this change in his father's eyes was due to him not meeting his father's expectations, and that no matter how hard he tried, it was never good enough, and he would never get the acknowledgement from his father he craved so much. Hoaqin felt like he was trapped in ice whenever he saw the change in his father's eyes. The servant, however, told Hoaqin that his father had not changed. The servant said that to someone with the sense of time as the family had, their existence felt like nothing more than little bugs just passing by, which is why the servant was sure that Hoaqin couldn't possibly have made the family head change. He added that if anything has changed, it was probably Hoaqin himself. This made Hoaqin think about how no matter what, he could never be able to get the praise from his father he so desperately craved, and he snapped and killed the servant. Hoaqin started to feel resentment towards his father afterwards. This feeling, alongside his desire to become stronger and make his father acknowledge him, led to Hoaqin finding a spell that would grant him the power to eat or consume souls, which in return would make him stronger. Afterwards, Hoaqin wandered around for days, not knowing where he was, when he found the place where the great Arie sword was. To a tired Hoaqin, it sounded like the waves of Shinsu that were crushing against this magnificent sword were saying to him, "O son of the sword, poor thing, you tried to reach this sword, but your impatience rather kept you away from it. You sinned against the world. Now, as punishment, you will be thirsty for life and feel empty without being able to fill it." But Hoaqin didn't care, as he felt a painful thirst from birth anyway. But what made him feel terribly sad was the fact that it wasn't the great sword that spoke to him, but rather the waves of Shinsu that crashed against the sword. And no matter what, he could not overcome his thirst for more power. This was until he encountered his brother Vicente in a forest. Vicente was very similar to Hoaqin, as he too wished for nothing more than to become a swordsmaster on par with the family had. He received a sword from his father and swung it faster and stronger than anyone else from his age group. The stronger he got, the stronger the sword became, to the point where Vicente felt like he had become the sword itself. Nonetheless, the most beautiful and powerful sword he had ever seen was still his father's, and no matter how much Vicente trained, he could not become a shining sword like his father, and also felt like he could never get his father to look at him. Anyways, let's get back to Vicente's meeting with Hoaqin. When Hoaqin encountered Vicente in the forest, he asked him why he was there, with Vicente responding that he was meditating, as reading a book while listening to the waves of Shinsu helps him relax. Vicente then asked Hoaqin if he would like to talk with him, seeing as they randomly met. The two brothers sat down on a platform in front of the great Arie sword and talked about how that sword is the goal of every swordsman in the Arie family. Vicente asked Hoaqin if that was the reason why he was always on edge, as Hoaqin was already one of the strongest of his generation, but always seemed restless and anxious. In contrast, Vicente was someone who always seemed in control of his emotions. Hoaqin started to talk about his growing thirst for more power and how he also felt another emotion grow alongside it, his fear, because he felt like their father's strength was different and wasn't built up by so much greed, and how if Hoaqin continued the way he was up till now, he won't ever be able to get a hold of the power he so desperately desired. Vicente stopped Hoaqin and told him that he wasn't the only one that felt this way, as every member of the Arie family felt the same pain, which is why Vicente also used the same soul-eating spell as Hoaqin, and perhaps acquired the ability to increase his power that way even before Hoaqin did. Vicente then asked Hoaqin if they should work together to find a way to surpass their father. Vicente and Hoaqin searched together with their three siblings Anna, David and Albelda, who felt the same way as them, for a way to surpass their father. Then one day, right before they were supposed to start their climb of the tower as regulars, Hoaqin had a dream of a demon who offered him unimaginable power if Hoaqin would betray his siblings and become a god or slayer for fuck. Once Hoaqin woke up, there was a spell right in front of him. Hoaqin told his siblings that he found a way to surpass their father using an old spell that was left behind by an ancient demon. Together they studied the spell and eventually found a way to combine their souls. However, what Hoaqin didn't tell his siblings was that he made a deal with the demon, which would allow his consciousness to be the center. Once they combined their souls, a new being was officially born. That being later became known as the legendary slayer, His Majesty White. Next to nothing is known about the time when White was a regular, but once White officially became a slayer for fuck, he gained the position of high ranker. He was feared throughout the tower as he committed multiple mass slaughters and other heinous crimes. He also gained a large following of worshippers, who used to paint blood next to their eyes to look like him, and for a while that look became the symbol of rebels throughout the tower. At one point in time, White killed a corrupt king in an area on the outer tower. That king was a lazy and rotten ruler, and everyone hated him. When White slit the rotten king's throat, he was celebrated and the citizens of that kingdom made him their new king. White acted like a good king and looked after the poor and executed any greedy officials of the kingdom, and the surrounding lands bowed before his might, and the citizens sang of his greatness. A long time after that, he made his most loyal follower the next king and disappeared. After that, the people recorded his name in their myths and worshipped and prayed to him like a god. White kept an eye on that land for a very long time, but as the land became more and more powerful, arrogant kings and rulers appeared. The more those arrogant rulers satisfied their own greed, the more people suffered from hunger and starvation. They once again acted like the corrupt king whom White killed long ago. So White gathered the poor and created yet another country without revealing his identity. He spoke of the old him as corrupt and that the old kingdom needed to be overthrown. He grew the new kingdom to a point where it threatened the other one. Ultimately, the two kingdoms that White created ended up resenting each other, and an endless war was the result. All the two kingdoms grew to know was hatred and pain for one another. There were times when there were peace attempts, but each time White made sure that the wars would continue by killing a hero from one kingdom in the name of the other, or by raping and slandering innocent women, or by using the most efficient method, using the two countries' belief in him. Whenever White saw signs of peace, he would appear before them and say, "My beloved ones, fight for your god against these demons." White planned the whole scenario from the start and spent so much time creating these situations in order for him to suck up all the souls of those who died in the wars. In the end, nearly 1 billion people died, and White described the taste of those souls, filled with desperation, torment and rage, as the ultimate taste. However, after repeatedly mass murdering civilians in the tower, a princess of Jahad could no longer tolerate White's heinous deeds and ultimately defeated him, and he disappeared somewhere in the tower, and everyone wondered if maybe he had died. Many of his followers attempted to discover the truth and tried to resurrect him, but none were successful, because the reality was that White didn't actually die while fighting the princess of Jahad. The truth was that after the incident, he fled into the Hell Train, as that was a protected area where rankers couldn't find him, but White lost control and could no longer stay in his current form. So he used a spellbook which would split his body back into 5 parts on the Hell Train until it was time for His Majesty's resurrection. Now, I would like to take the time to talk about 5 adventurers who frequently took the tests on the Hell Train, but before that, I should probably mention that the Hell Train has changed a bit since I talked about it for the first time during part 2 of this video series. I mentioned how the Hell Train was initially created by the workshop as a training facility for Jahad and his companions during the initial climb of the tower. But when Jahad became the king of the tower and implemented the ranking system, the Hell Train became an infamous special testing area for D-rank regulars. Before entering through the doors of the Hell Train, regulars had to insert their express ticket into a slot, which causes the doors to open, letting the regular inside the train. The express ticket cannot be bought and must be stolen from another regular by any means necessary. A regular who has a ticket is called the ticket holder or ticketer. Once a regular has one ticket, they become a target. Ticket holders must defend their tickets from random regulars who will try to steal it. Because there are only 100 tickets available, many regulars have lost their lives from countless fighting and deadly competition. Due to this extremely high difficulty, it's nearly impossible for ordinary regulars to survive until the end of the line. Anyway, back to the 5 adventurers I wanted to talk about. The defender Arca Williams, the scout Daniel Hatchett, the fisherman Boro, the wave controller Sachi Faker, and the lightbearer Rowan. The 5 of them initially got on the train, each with their own goals, but the more time went by, the closer they got, and eventually took the tests on the Hell Train to meet each other. At one point in time, and roughly 600 years before Baum entered the tower, they boarded the Hell Train, but when the doors of the train opened, the 5 friends encountered Hoaqin, who simply smiled and said, "Since you guys seem interesting, I will give you a chance. Will you become my underlings?" Rowan became annoyed with his attitude and asked if he was looking down on them because he was from the 10 great families or something. She told Hoaqin that he would surely die on the train if he continued to act that way, as she has seen many children of the 10 families die in vain on the Hell Train. Hoaqin stayed calm and told her that he is going to be at a higher place than the 10 families' descendants, as he has come to the train to regain his old power and get his title of a Fuck Slayer back. Due to his aura and overwhelming strength, the regulars that boarded the train became his subordinates. Even though the 5 friends were against the idea of following him, they had to become part of his group in order to survive the train. Then one day, disaster struck when everyone on the train was working for Hoaqin. Daniel walked in on Rowan, who had just killed someone. When Daniel asked why she killed someone, Rowan was in visual distress. She told Daniel that she had no choice, as Hoaqin forced her into this situation. She begged Daniel to not tell anyone of what had happened. Daniel promised her that he wouldn't tell anyone. However, Rowan, who had always been bright and cheerful, started to change afterwards. She became quiet and would often space out. The first to notice her change in behavior was Sachi, but even after he noticed it, he couldn't approach her, as he felt like there was nothing he could do to help her. The only one who truly stood by her side and supported her was Daniel. Her secret eventually got revealed and the rest of her friends started to resent her a little. However, the 5 friends eventually found one of Hoaqin's spellbooks, which revealed a bit of Hoaqin's past and how he used his position as a leader on the train to force other regulars to kill each other as he wanted to consume their souls, to make himself strong enough to reunite with the souls of his siblings and become one entity again, to become the devilish slayer White again. In the book it was written that White could no longer exist in their current form. The exact words in the book were, "I can no longer support this body. We should split my body into 5 parts through this seal and leave 4 of the clones on the train for resurrection in the future. The spell will be complete when I return and I shall regain my whole power. But if even one more spirit mingles into the seal, the spell will fail and our souls will be sealed in the train forever. Therefore, we shall trick the people on the train into killing each other." With this, they finally found a way to get rid of Hoaqin if they could somehow manage to lure him into the seal and force the spell to activate. The night before they planned to seal Hoaqin away, Rowan told Daniel that she made a decision and would sacrifice her life to seal Hoaqin away. But before that, she wanted to confess her true feelings to Daniel. She told him, "Daniel, I like you. I wanted to tell you for so long, but I couldn't with everyone else around. I like you, Daniel. Boro, Akka, Sachi, I like them all, but I like you the best. So Daniel, if I give my life to seal Hoaqin tomorrow, it's probably because I love you. You're short, grumpy and not exactly charming, but you won my heart over when you accepted me, even at my worst. I like that you are always such a softie with me. So Daniel, even if I die tomorrow, you can't resent or hate anyone, because it's you that I'm dying for. I love you, Daniel. Thank you. This is the first time that I have these feelings. Right now, I'm so in love that I don't even fear death." The next day, Akka and Daniel were able to lure Hoaqin into a room using the spellbook they found as bait and provoked him. Annoyed at their attitude towards him, Hoaqin went for an attack. However, Boro, who was anticipating his attacks, managed to deflect them. Just then, Hoaqin noticed that a magic pattern had appeared on the floor. Thanks to Sachi's ability to use spells, the adventurers were able to decipher the seal and use it to their advantage. In the center of the seal stood Rowan, ready to give her life to seal Hoaqin within the train forever. Until that very moment, none of her friends dared to say a word about who would be sacrificed. But in some way, they were all expecting Rowan to stand there as if it was an obvious decision. They all believed that a sacrifice had to be made for them to live. Thanks to Rowan's sacrifice, Hoaqin was sealed. Daniel, Boro, Akka and Sachi were the only survivors left on the train. However, they were all unable to move past the incident and Rowan's sacrifice. So they all roamed around the train station, with Sachi becoming a ticket hunter, Akka, who gathered powerful allies to challenge the train again, Boro, who became a mentor for new regulars challenging the train, and Daniel, who could not live on with the guilt of surviving while the girl he loved was dead. Which is why roughly 400 years after the horrifying events on the Hell train, Daniel went on the train again and almost lost his life as well. But someone rescued him. That someone was Hoaqin, who could not leave the train. Hoaqin promised Daniel that he would resurrect Rowan if he in return would help Hoaqin break free of the spell that tied him to the train and get his power back. And that was the story of White, the 10th Slayer of Fuck, at least for a while, which means that this is the end of part 8 of my Tower of God history series. So please, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Also check some of my other content out as well. As mentioned, in part 9 I will talk about the person who climbed the tower in record time, Jurek Margino. But until then, thank you for watching and I hope to see you again. Bye!